What up, everybody? The biggest mystery so far of Raising Kanan Season 4 is what happened to Famous. Only seen briefly on screen at the beginning of Episode 1, the Flashback episode, performing the Streets Need a Body remix on stage at Club View on the same night that Unique went missing. Then in Episode 2, that began about 2 months after the end of Season 3/Season 4 Episode 1, Marvin picked up Lou from rehab, and he told Lou that he heard the cops got a warrant for Famous's arrest, and Famous got to talking and said too much and fled town. But Lou straight up told Marvin that Fame wasn't no snitch. And it was at this point when Marvin also said that Famous and Lou's song was blowing up and was all over the radio. Then when Lou went to meet up with record label owner Lowell Galfin, Lowell had high expectation for Lou and Famous's song, saying maybe one day they could hang a gold or platinum plaque on their wall for the song 411 if it continues to have success. When Lowell asked Lou about Fame, he said that Famous just needed some time to get his thoughts together and clear his head. And that's the story he's been sticking with since. He told a similar story to B. Rilla and also to Imani Ikoye. But I think deep down, Lou knows something not right happened to Famous, because when the song 411 came on the radio, he turned it off. Then going back to Episode 2, Detective Garcia rolled up on Kanan, questioning him about Famous. And we found out at this point Garcia had been harassing Kanan about what happened to Famous for a minute. And we also found out that Famous had been missing for 2 months. Then in Episode 3, Jukebox asked Kanan where was Famous at, and he told her that he didn't know. This lets us know that he wasn't lying to Detective Garcia. But Jukebox basically told Kanan that Marvin told her the same story about what happened to Famous that he told to Lou. Then Kanan told Jukebox that he doesn't know what to believe, and went on to say the same thing that people been saying, that Famous got to talking too much and skipped town. Kanan also told Jukebox that he spoke with Famous's mother and that she didn't know where he was either, but he didn't want to say too much to Famous's mother just in case Fame was snitching. So from their conversation, it sounds like Kanan also got his information from Marvin or from someone else Marvin talked to. But at this point, Kanan and Jukebox were both still in denial that anything bad happened to Famous, because Jukebox said that Famous was probably in Cali with his sister hollering at bitches in bikinis. Then in Episode 4, Kanan was over at Lou's apartment, and when B. Rilla left the room, Lou asked Kanan about Famous, then went on to say he talked to Famous's sister, Jessica, in California, and she promises that Famous isn't out there with her. He also said that she sounds scared, and Famous's mother has turned to the police to help her find him. At this point, Kanan told Lou that he wasn't even trying to think about what happened to Famous, because everything he's thinking right now is real fucked up. And part of the Episode 5 description says that Famous's mother desperately tries to find him. So from the sound of the description, it sounds like Famous's mother will be in Episode 5, and we could possibly get more into the backstory about what happened to him. Because the last time we saw Famous on screen, he was in police custody in an interrogation room after being arrested for the murder of Freddie, because his mom found a gun in his room and turned it into the cops. Detective Garcia and Pang were trying to get Famous to confess and cop a plea. But later Captain Baptiste and Agent Tanner from the FBI came in and were trying to get Famous to snitch, connecting Detective Howard to the Thomas family. But the last time we saw Famous on screen, he wasn't gonna snitch and was asking for a lawyer. So I think the biggest question is, how did Famous get out of police custody to go missing in the first place? Did Famous give the police some kind of information, or did they release him possibly because they didn't have enough evidence? Hopefully we'll get some more of these details in episode 5, because the episode 5 trailer shows Detective Garcia talking to somebody, most likely Famous's mother, saying that being best friends with Kanan Stark is dangerous business because Kanan is into a lot of bad things. The trailer also shows Famous's mother with Famous, but that was a scene from season 3 episode 7 when Famous confessed to his mother that he got into a lot of bad shit. And as far as Famous being in WITSEC or still locked up in protective custody or something like that, we know that's not the case from one of the season 4 teaser videos that shows Famous with a gun being pointed at the back of his head. Like I said in another video, this is most likely a flashback scene showing what happened to Famous when he went missing. And also, like I said in another video, we know that it's Marvin pointing the gun at Famous because of the ring on his finger. So Marvin being involved with Famous going missing is why he's telling everybody that Famous snitched and skipped town. But the question is, did Marvin kill Famous and disappear him? Or did he force Famous to leave town and not tell anybody where he was going? Similar to how Marvin gave Sam a bankroll and told him to go to Atlanta. I think the main clue is that Marvin is saying that Famous got to talking. If he just gave him a bankroll and told him to get out of town, I don't think he would associate Famous with being a rat. Because of that, I think it's more likely Marvin killed Famous at Rock's orders because she told Marvin that Famous was talking. Then there's also Stefano's words from the season 4 trailer where he says Famous' last words. And concerning Stefano possibly having something to do with Famous' death, in episode 4, Imane Okoye told Lou that Loel Galfin told her that Famous just vanished into thin air. And this could definitely be foreshadowing that Famous got killed by Marvin and they put him in Stefano's furnace. And because of that, Famous will never be found. Then the episode 6 description says that Kanan recruits Jukebox to help him get justice for a friend. This is most likely talking about getting justice for Famous. So at this point by episode 6, Kanan had pretty much come to the conclusion that Famous is dead. This lets us know that in episode 5, just like Famous's mother was desperately looking for answers, Kanan will go from trying not to think about what happened to Famous to looking for answers himself. And when he does, he will come to the conclusion that Famous is dead and go on the hunt for Famous's killer. I think this is when Kanan will tell OC if he wants to make some real loot to get him some information. And before Kanan and Jukebox find out the truth about what really happened to Famous, I think there'll be a scapegoat who gets thrown into the mix before they find out the truth. Probably somebody from Freddy's crew. Then at some point, Kanan will find out that Marvin and his mother were the cause of Famous's death and disappearance, and this will cause a major conflict. Because Kanan already knows about Stefano's furnace. Keeping in mind Ronnie lied to him in season 3, saying that Rock was behind Unique's death and that she had Stefano put his body in his furnace. Then that would cause Kanan to turn on his mother completely, teaming up with her op, Unique. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.